Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm Ruchi Sharma and we are here at the ABC-Conclave 2023 in Dubai, and I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Anton Golub, the founder and president of SwissAssetDAO. Welcome to 3.0 TV, Anton.
Thank you very much. Glad you have me here, and I enjoyed the conference today and looking forward now to an awesome discussion.
Sure. So ever since with the emergence of DeFi, where do you see the shift and what are the emerging trends in DeFi?
So first, I actually have to say is that decentralization is the biggest innovation that our industry has brought to the whole society. And in that context, the decentralized finance as well is one of the key drivers of our industry in the coming years, but also when we think how finance will look like in the future, it will look exactly like DeFi. So a lot of these apps where everybody can easily access them, use sophisticated financial instruments, but kind of if we're thinking about where are we in that journey, we're actually at the beginnings, you know? And when we today objectively take a look who are the biggest players in the crypto industry, are definitely the centralized players, like centralized exchanges, centralized borrowing and lending platforms, and not so much DeFi. Now, if I have to reflect, you know, where this is going and how do we get there, is that I think that DeFi has a very big problem. And it's not related to compliance, in my view, to KYC, KYB. This will come over time. The big problem that actually doesn't strengthen the trust is the numerous hacks we have in the DeFi space and the numerous rug pulls. And I think once we really take seriously the concern around security, and once we address it, then I think DeFi will have amazing acceptance both from the crypto community, which already loves it, but also from the regulator and traditional finance players.
So US is most probably going to approve the spot Bitcoin ETF. With that happening, you know, how will it impact the overall cryptocurrency market and how will it impact the BTC prices?
So first to mention is actually that the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF could be one of the biggest drivers of new liquidity coming into the crypto ecosystem. This is extremely important because at the moment we don't have a lot of new liquidity coming in. So objectively, it's a crypto winter, bear market, however you want to call it. And an approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF is one of those narratives that could drive, you know, the next bull run. Now, but we can wonder why haven't we had the approval so far? I like to read what the regulator says, and I like to read it in detail. So I read in detail what the SEC says. They have a concern around market integrity, meaning that when you actually need to price an ETF, you need to look where the prices come from. And the prices come from world's biggest crypto exchanges, but they're unregulated. And so the US regulator is concerned if the exchanges where the prices come from are unregulated, how can we be sure that the spot Bitcoin ETF will be fairly priced for everyone, because even retail could buy it. So I'm extremely bullish on this narrative. I think it will happen one day, but we as an industry have to really reflect, are we addressing the concerns of the regulators? So let's see what happens there.
So there is an emerging trend of foreign currency backed stable coins like dirhams, yen, euro. So if that happens, will that help end the hegemony of dollar-backed stablecoins?
So I think first of all, the stablecoins are one of the first use cases that we actually brought to the whole world, where it's a clearly proven new product. Stablecoins as a settlement tool to move crypto money around has clearly proven that it works. So this is amazing. But now actually I think you have two concerns there actually that come. One is that something fascinating happened with the dollar stablecoin is that Tether, which is the largest issuer of dollar stablecoin, in the back actually uses that dollars to purchase US treasuries. And if we would actually compare them as a country, so if Tether would be a country, it would be the fifth biggest country on the planet holding US treasuries. So that is a huge concern actually, because it means that, you know, indirectly somebody can pretty much be one of the biggest owners of US treasuries in the back. Now if we kind of reflect, and I think will then this be the same problem for dirhams, for euros, I think that will not be the problem actually. And I think that stable coins, even if they're privately issued, could be actually a huge driver of a new methodology how the everyday person can fight against inflation and money printing from the central bank. So if I live in Argentina or in a country, Lebanon, where the inflation is crazy high, and if I have simple tools how to enter the crypto world and purchase dollar stablecoins, euro stable, I can protect myself and my family. So I think this is an amazing opportunity, and I think the concerns that we have around the dollar stablecoins will not be the same as with dirham stablecoins, for instance.
So the US has shut doors on CBDC. US lawmakers have passed laws against CBDC. So US is most not likely to see, digital dollar. How will this impact the entire market, and what will be the repercussions of this on 130, countries that are actually developing CBDCs?
Yeah, so CBDs can be actually used as in two ways objectively. One way is actually very much wholesale tool. So it means that actually the biggest financial players in the country use it as a settlement mechanism. So if you are an Arab bank, we can use the CBDC to settle payment flows between each other. I think this is a very clear proven use case. And a lot of countries are actually going in that direction, especially the ones with an established financial markets. Now on the other side is what I can say is that I think that CBDCs can be used as a political tool. And there's a clear danger about that basically the politics and the governments and the state controls what you and I do with our own cash or money, let's say like that. So I think there's a huge concern around that. I think it's a valid concern, and that's why I personally am against CBDCs being in the hands of the retail. This is my personal opinion. I know that a lot of politicians globally share my opinion. I don't know if they listen to me when I say it, but they also share the same opinion because the concern is real. Because history has proven if you give the government a bit too much power, one way or the other, somehow it doesn't always end up how we expected it to end up. So it doesn't end up in a positive way. So it's my concern, and I think it's not meant to be in the hands of the retail.
Do you think CBDCs can help tame inflation and address issues like corruption, anti-money laundering, as stated by Argentina, presidential candidate?
So I think from a technology perspective, they can definitely do that. If they're on a public ledger, even on a private ledger, you can definitely see all the money flows. So this is very positive, actually. Now, I think if I kind of put myself in the position of the government, if the government is actually the one behind the inflation, it's not clear why the CBDCs will actually help or mitigate that actually. I think they will be then used in line with the goals of the government if they want inflation or inadvertently want inflation. So I think as a method to fight inflation, to say it like that, I think I don't really see how that would happen actually, or I don't understand it. But I think definitely from a transparency point of view, it's a clear use case actually.
So recently MakerDAO invested $800 million in US Treasury yields, and so we saw this, a reverse action of crypto money flowing from crypto, market to the real asset. This thing. So, what is your take on this?
So, real world assets is one of the biggest narratives now that we're talking about. That could be the driver for the next bull run. And as you mentioned, in the last 10 years, maybe a bit longer, 14 years, we had a lot of capital coming from the traditional finance world into the crypto world. Now this all ballooned, and a lot of capital wants to go back from the crypto world into the real world. The question is, why does it want to do that? It's actually, the answer is very simple. It's today you cannot get a return if you are on your cryptos in the crypto industry. Big players like BlockFi, Genesis, Celsius, Voyager, I just mentioned a lot of them, they're all bankrupt and gone, but they offered yield usually on your stablecoins or your crypto. So the yield in the crypto world is zero, but the yield in the traditional world is actually quite high. And that has nothing to do with us. The central bank of US rose the interest rate from 0 to 5% in the last year. So the yield is attractive now in the crypto world, and all of this money, the real world is very attractive, so all of this money from the crypto world wants to end up there. I think this is an amazing narrative. I think this is also, when people ask what's the real world application of crypto, I mean, this is a clear one, right? We have the capital, we have the assets in crypto, let's enable opportunities in the world. But I think when people talk about real world assets, their dream is actually that everyday people can invest a small fraction into Burj Khalifa, for instance, into a big real estate portfolio. But I think we're far away from there. I think at the beginning what will happen is big crypto projects like MakerDAO will deploy a lot of capital into very liquid, stable, traditional instruments like US Treasuries. And MakerDAO has done that, you mentioned a big number, but in total their real world asset investment portfolio is actually over 2 billion. So that means already the money is kind of flowing that direction, but there's a lot of friction and there are a lot of infrastructure has to be built.
So Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore. Who is going to be the next Web3 hub? Where is going to emerge as a Web3 hub?
So I am very, very bullish on United Arab Emirates. Very, very bullish. And I will tell you a simple reason. It's because of the people. So I look where the people go, because this is a chair, this is a wall. You can put a chair and a wall anywhere you want on the planet. But in the end, it's about the people, the community that you build, and what comes out of that community. What I feel, actually, I'm sure you feel it as well when we are at this conference, the vibe is amazing here. And when I look at where a lot of smart people are going, they're all going to UAE. Or as they say, Habibi, come to Dubai. I think we kind of see that. But having said that, we talked about the values of the crypto industry and decentralization being a key one of them. I think that's going to be the future. We're going to have globally very important hubs. I think UAE is going to be one of them. We still have a lot of work to do here in UAE. That's objective, actually, objective fact. But if I would have to bet my next 10 years of my life, I would bet it on Dubai.
That's great. So your key takeaway from this event?
So my key takeaway from this particular event is actually, so we're now starting the October, marathon of crypto conferences. This is an amazing start. So the people that I have met today are phenomenal. The discussions that we had is phenomenal. The vibe is great despite the objective crypto winter. And I have to say is that despite the challenges around the Bitcoin price and the funding and all of that, I feel that the vibe here is great. People are building, people are very optimistic, people are positive. But at the same time, crypto industry is always like that, so we have to be a bit biased. So we have to understand this bias. But overall, spectacular conference, really happy, with a bit more intimate setup than usual. And I think this proven to be actually a success story.
Thank you so much for talking to us and giving us your valuable time.
Pleasure, and it was good. Thank you very much for having me.
So that's all in this special segment for now. This is me, Ruchi Sharma, signing off. Keep watching 3.0 TV.